So as I'm driving, I see this hitchhiker, and he's completely naked, and he's holding a can opener. And that's how I met Bill Belichick. Yeah. Oh, well, hey, sports fans. Haroon Rashid, Kemia Consulting, and welcome to the first ever annual Haroon's Hangout Super Bowl special. I'm so glad that you could join us today. And it's a really special episode because it's the first ever one we're doing on the Super Bowl, and it's the first time we've ever had two guests on the show. And I'm really glad to be joined by, first of all, Jacob Markiewicz, who is from Movy. Hey, Jacob, how's it going? Oh, I think we've lost the sound there, Jacob, for some reason. But whilst he's sorting that out, I'll just give him the intro. So Jacob heads public relations at Movy. He promotes Joyce portfolio companies to media outlets, helping them achieve visibility on a national scale. And second of all, we have Dom Garrett. So Dom is a social media freelance gunner for hire. He co-hosts Train the Monkeys podcast, I love that title, as well as the CMGR Hangout with @mycmgr. We'll put all these links in the show notes. And he's a social media and a sports junkie. Very happy to have him on the show. Hey, Dom.
How's it going, Haroon?
Good stuff, good stuff. So we're glad that you could join us, guys. We're going to go through the key storylines of this year's Super Bowl. We're going to go through key players and key matchups, and then we're going to play a really fun game of over-under using, I think it's one of the things from Yahoo Sports. So that's going to be really cool. So first of all, guys, we're going to have to talk about it. It's Deflate Gate and everything that kind of brings up, everything that represents. Question to you both. Does this affect the Pats' legacy if they win the Super Bowl?
Jacob, we'll let you go first.
Oh.
I think, Jacob, I think you might be hardware muted there, bud.
Well, whilst Jacob's doing that, Dom, do you want to just chip in with what you think about whether this is going to affect the Pats' legacy?
Yeah, for sure, I can do that. I mean, obviously, I am a Pats fan, so typical Seahawks fan is just speechless by this wonderful legacy that's already been laid out. I understand, but no, what I don't think that it necessarily affects the legacy. This is something that I think is a cause partially because of the 2 weeks in between football games. Everybody's just hyping this thing up. They need something to talk about for 13 days in between the games, so why not talk about Deflate Gate for 8 of it? I think that this is going to be something that's people might think about, but it's not anything that they're going to be talking about for a long time. There was plenty of people on the Colts. I think one of the linemen actually tweeted out that Tom Brady could have been throwing a wet bar of soap in that game and they still would have beat him. So I don't really think that it would really. It'll be a little footnote, but it's not going to ruin anything.
Jacob, do we have you back now, buddy? Oh, okay. We still don't have Jacob for some reason. Okay. I don't know what to do with that one. It's never happened before. What we might do is, Jacob, if you can hear me, buddy, if you can hear me, maybe try leaving the Hangout and joining us back again. That might sort it out. That might be a good way to do it. I think you've got the link in your messages. So, but I'm going to say as a Pats fan, whilst Jacob's doing that I just think that there's always a reason to hate the Patriots. And why can't people just ever be happy for the Pats and Tom Brady? What is wrong with people? Why can't you just accept they beat them? They beat them like, what was it? 47-7 or something. It wasn't like a 21-20 kind of game. That's what I'm saying, right?
No, yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. I love Tom Brady. I put Tom Brady up on a pedestal, rightfully so, with that chiseled jawline. I think he deserves to be up there. But I think that it's people that are jealous. I mean, you have everything like that, and sure, there are some legs to it. I understand that when you do have 11 out of 12 balls that are deflated like that, you should look into it. But if they look into it and the NFL interviews 60 some odd people and nothing's coming up, I mean, they don't test the PSI of every single game ball throughout the game for every single game that happens. There are quarterbacks that like things extra inflated. Some like it a little bit on the low side. There's a lot of different factors that go in here. I don't think that you can say, hey, they're cheating. You want to look at something like that, but I don't think that some deflated balls are going to cause that game in particular to be any different. I really don't.
I think we'll probably move on to the next bit. We'll wait for Jacob to come back and he can put in his bits about this. But the other big storyline, of course, is the Seahawks potentially becoming back-to-back champs. Number one, do you think that they can do it? And number two, if they do it, do you think that this could be the beginning of a dynasty?
Here's what I think. This is going to be a much better game than it was last year. The Broncos were not ready for what the Seahawks were actually bringing there. I think that the Patriots are going to be much more ready for that. And I do have to share, just for the record, I am in a house. I live with a Seahawks fan. He's from Seattle. He's my best friend, and he's actually sitting right in the other room right now, sending me a bunch of messages on GChat, like #Spygate, #integrity of the game. So it's just kind of fun to be able to do that, knowing that he's hating every single word that I'm saying. But that being said, I really do think that the Seahawks could win this game. I mean, I obviously have who I want to win, but this is going to be a very, very good football game. So you never really know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Jacob, do we have you back, buddy? Can we hear you?
I think so.
Yay!
Okay.
Awesome. So, what we were asking then, Jacob, was, do you reckon that the Seahawks... Well, I think that you're going for the Seahawks this time, but
yes.
So let me ask you a slightly different question. If the Seahawks win it and become back-to-back champions, do you think that this is the beginning of a dynasty?
I think it's got to be. I mean, the thing is, though, is that Russell Wilson is only costing them like $600,000 this year, and once he needs a new contract, that's going to skyrocket. So what I think it needs to be extremely important is that they juggle the cap really well, because that's one thing that the NFL does really well, is the fact that the cap is such a great equalizer. So if they can keep the young core together, I think that's really going to set them up for a dynasty. Something similar to the Iron Curtain. I mean, that could be the Legion of Boom could be the new Iron Curtain, which I think would be fantastic to see.
But this kind of brings us into the next part of the conversation, though, because Wilson is not considered an elite quarterback, is he? Because you've obviously got the top three. Everybody knows. You've got Brady, Manning, and Breeze, okay? And then you're kind of putting Aaron Rodgers in there if you had to go for a 4 or 5. But Wilson's the current champion, and now if he wins 2, is that enough to kind of say, well, he's going to be in the elite quarterback conversation?
Go ahead, Jacob.
I was just going to say that, like, I don't want him to be an elite quarterback. I want him to stay in the top 6 to top 10 range, because if he's doing that, then that means that he has the best risk-to-reward ratio, at least in my opinion. I mean, because he can have those games that they had against, like, the Redskins, where he went for 300 yards passing, 100 yards rushing, 4 total touchdowns. I mean, that's fantastic, but at the same time, he doesn't turn the ball over. He's had 12 fumbles this year, but not a single one of them was lost. He doesn't throw interceptions. I mean, he has such a great risk-to-reward ratio that, like, you just don't find that. So I'd rather have him doing, the medium that he does, and you're going to have those boom games, but you're not going to have those bust games. I don't want him to force interceptions like Peyton Manning does or Brett Favre does, just to be in that top tier category.
Here's my thing is I think that he is what we would consider in maybe 15 years to be the pioneer of what the quarterback is going to turn into. You look at quarterbacks that are coming up. He got injured, but, I mean, you could look at RG3. You have to look at Cam Newton. You look at Russell. You look at Colin Kaepernick. Like, a lot more quarterbacks are starting to get that mobility factor in, where you don't know, is he going to throw for 300 or is he going to run for 120 and 2 touchdowns? I mean, it adds a new level to that. The thing that I like about Russell Wilson is that he wins games. Like, that's true. Like, when it really comes down to it, the dude just straight up wins. He did it at Wisconsin. He did it when he came up to this level. But I don't think necessarily when you think of quarterback, you can put him in that elite group. And like what you said, I don't think he necessarily even strives to be in there. Like, if you say, oh man, I'm a great game manager, but I have 2 Super Bowl rings in my first 3 years, bummer. Like, guess what? I'm still getting paid I'm still getting a huge contract. And I like the point that you made too, Jacob, is the interesting thing when it comes to this dynasty with the Seahawks is that, in the NFL now, not only do you have to be better than 31 other teams, you also have to consistently be better against the salary cap.
Yeah.
And if you're not good against them, you could bust the bank and sign some big-name players and win one Super Bowl, maybe two. But what the Patriots have been able to do, having players like Tom that have restructured their deals, taking a heck of a less money to be able to keep players there, that's the important thing. Is Pete Carroll going to be able to keep those players there, getting paid less than what their market value would be for teams, 2 through 32. So that's the really interesting thing here, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. They're still hurting from that Percy Harvin, that Percy Harvin contract and everything like that. That's rough. Are they going to be able to keep that defense together and have actual receivers for Russell Wilson to be able to throw to?
True. Although it's funny thing about the Percy Harvin contract is he could arguably be the most important player for their 2 Super Bowl wins. If they win on Sunday, he becomes their most important player in this run because he didn't play all of last year, plays the Super Bowl, has a really solid game. Then they come into this year, him getting traded could have been the catalyst that led them to this journey that they're going on now, which I find is just fascinating.
It was for sure. I mean, you see that all the time, and we've seen it a lot recently where, you have one person in the locker room. It doesn't matter if there's 10 guys in there or if there's, 52 other dudes that are in there. If you are a virus and you're just bad for chemistry, when you get out of there, things change. The Seahawks were 3-3 when they traded Percy Harvin, and they won 9 out of their last 10 and ended up with the #1 seed in the playoffs. That's incredible. I wanted to see it happen. I like the team, but I definitely didn't think it was going to happen when they were 3-3.
I agree.
It's crazy how stuff can actually happen like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, I think because we talked a little bit there about the Seahawks' journey, let's go on the other end of the spectrum now and talk about the Pats' journey to the Super Bowl, because we all know what happened when they lost the opening game to Miami. And then after the really embarrassing loss to the Chiefs, everyone was just saying, it's the end of the dynasty, it's the end of the world, this is it for the Patriots and everything like that. But hey, they're in the friggin' Super Bowl now. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this whole Pats journey? How's it been for you? What have been the key storylines for you leading up to their Super Bowl journey?
I mean, for me, it was picking up LeGarrette Blount, really. The Steelers let him go. And now, granted, you have to look at Gronk being healthy all year. That's huge. Yeah. They haven't had that. Tom actually really putting things together and playing a lot better than he did the first couple of weeks. But the fact that they got to pick up LeGarrette Blount, which shifted a lot of different things in the AFC as well, because you could very well argue that the Steelers would have been able to do a lot better against the Ravens had they had a running back since Le'Veon Bell went down. Blount has gone off in his last 2 playoff games. The guy is averaging 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's gross. You get that kind of production in the playoffs, you normally win games. That's how it works.
Yeah, and then you get paid in the offseason.
Yeah, for sure. and that's the type of stuff that I think there was some fortuitous turns. I was honestly looking at it and I was going, well, this isn't looking good for us this year. But, they just stayed consistent. They didn't lose at home. And, that's the big thing. You can look at both of these teams and realize how much home field advantage actually matters.
Yeah.
But, that's at least what it was for me. So.
For me, I'd have to go with really 2 things. Number 1 being the emergence of Julian Edelman, and number 2 being just their balance, in the sense that, with the emergence of Julian Edelman, he truly became the player they wanted him to be. He became that slot receiver, that Wes Welker player, but most importantly, on the special teams. Him in the punt return game is huge. That sets up them to have a shorter field, which means that it's going to be more compact for Rob Gronkowski to have those big plays. Because if he catches a 10-yard pass and breaks 2 tackles, after a good punt return from Julian Edelman, he's basically in the red zone. And, I mean, they're unstoppable once they get there. And number two is their balance. They come out and they have 6 offensive linemen when they play the Colts for like 70 offensive plays. That's crazy. Like, they had 6 games over 35 points. I mean, they have just balance. They walk into it in like a stadium and do whatever they want when they want. So... as someone pulling for the Seahawks, this is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me as well, though, I think you raised a good point about Julian Edelman, because the thing is, he filled the gap that Danny Amendola was supposed to be, because Amendola was supposed to be their guy. They spent a lot of money getting him in, but he's crap. He's really bad. He's not that good, very inconsistent. But Edelman, you can tell the guy's got such a good work ethic. He's really working hard. And he's not a really big guy either. He's like, what, 5'10" or something like that? Yeah. But
he's the guy that makes people my size go, I could totally play in the NFL. Absolutely. Like, I'm 5'10", 185 pounds. I could get out there. Come on, Tommy. Throw me a slam pass over the middle and watch me get broken in half.
Bro, I'm 5'8". I'm just hoping for a 5'8" receiver. Actually, how tall is Welker? I think he's like 5'7" or something, isn't he? Surely. The guy's really small. Anyway, he's got a concussion now, so it doesn't really matter. So, but let's kind of go then into the whole thing about the coaches. So we've got Carroll versus Belichick, okay? Yeah. Now, there's loads of different ways we could approach this. Now, the thing that's the most interesting thing to me is you just never know what Belichick's going to do, because you think, well, is that a legal formation? That's illegal. No, that's legal, actually. And then he's doing other things like, which you never know who's going to be throwing the ball. Edelman threw for a touchdown, I think, the other week as well. And you have no idea who's going to be doing what kind of formations they're going to be having. Do you think that Carroll is equipped and experienced enough to deal with Belichick's experience? Jacob, do you want to go in first with that one?
I definitely think that he is, because something that Pete Carroll has done better than just about any other coach is he's had success wherever he's been, like at every level, in the sense that he's looking to become like the first coach with multiple national championships and multiple Super Bowls. I mean, that's amazing. And just like the fact that he was able to just have this, like he's been able to cultivate this culture almost there in Seattle. And I think that he's definitely going to be able to stand up to Belichick, because what they do so well is they don't change their game plan. They walk into a field and they're like, we're gonna be fast to the ball. We're going to play press coverage on the outsides, and you have to beat us. And if they can't do it, they're not running stunts or blitzes or anything. They're just doing what they do. And I think that is a great way to combat a team like the Patriots that just do crazy things every single week.
Dom, do you want to jump in with that one?
We're just on Seattle. Pete Carroll really doesn't do anything. So
no, I do think that I think that it's a great coaching matchup. These are the type of coaching matchups that I really look forward to. You have the hoodie versus what I like to call the robber baron. I always imagine, like, you could just, as you're watching Pete Carroll the Super Bowl, imagine him with a monocle and a cane, and you'll get a lot more enjoyment out of it. The dude's always chewing gum. He's energetic. He's definitely a player's coach. Mm-hmm. Bill Belichick this is the Patriot way. This is the way that we do it. And that's part of the thing, because he is so close to the vest. That's why things like Spygate, that's why things like Deflate Gate, everybody's like, the dude's got to be hiding something. Yeah. Because, that's where part of it comes from. But it's going to be very, very interesting. Belichick seems like he's one of those guys that would be very down the line. This is just what we're going to do. This is how it's going to be. And then all of a sudden, like you were saying, Haroon, Julian Edelman's going to throw a touchdown pass, or they're going to do some sort of a different thing that's going to fake you out. And Belichick has been, at least this year, I've seen a little bit different from him. He's sort of reinvented some of the stuff that he's done, and I think that in my head, he has a plan of what he has been doing through the season and setting his players and his team up to go, all right, this is what they are going to expect. I'm going to be a step ahead of them. Carroll's got an immense amount of talent, an immense amount of passion, and a lot of times that will carry you through a lot of games. I think that that's really where it's going to be, because even though they won last year, the Seahawks are still underdogs, and I think that's where that sort of coaching style of going, hey, this is what you need to do, is really going to come through in this game. So.
Absolutely. I mean, we all know that Seattle's defense is brilliant. Now, we know that the Patriots' offensive line was inconsistent at the beginning, but they have been making adjustments. It's been getting better all the time. Jacob, do you think that Brady's going to have to work on the passing game or the running game?
I think for them it's got to be the running game, because they know exactly what they're going to get out of their passing game. It's going to be, Gronk, trying to get those mismatches, although I think the matchup with him and Cam Chancellor is going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be getting the ball to Julian Edelman, pretty fast. But if they can run the ball effectively with Blunt, that just sets up everything, because they can then do what they want. And you do not want to be behind the 8 ball with the Patriots exercising their will on you. So I think that the number one key is they got to get Blunt going in the beginning. Maybe even throw some Sean Green in there, or all the other running backs that they have that sort of pop up every once in a while. Because if they can get a bunch of different guys going, I think it's going to be like a smash mouth game, and that's how they can stand up against the Seahawks. I think
I agree with you there, and I think the conventional wisdom would make me think that that's the game plan that they're going to go to. But again, like what I was saying. It is the idea of moving things over and trying to. I honest to God think that they are going to go and attack Richard Sherman. Yeah. I think that Brady is going to test him. Like, everybody looks at Tom like he's a really nice dude. Like, he is a competitor, and he also doesn't necessarily like Richard Sherman. So it would mean so much more to him to know, hey, I'm a better quarterback than you are a cornerback, and I'm going to put stuff over on your side. Yeah. Because the more that you actually do that, the more they're going to shift Cam over to that side, the more you're going to be able to open up Gronk. So I think that they're going to come out firing. I think that you're going to see a lot more of that ground and pound in the late second quarter, early third quarter, and then continuing if they have a lead. But I think that they're going to come out and they're going to be targeting over there, which is cocky as all get out, because every single stat would say don't really throw to Richard Sherman, because the percentages that he's thrown to are so low, yet the percentage that he breaks up or intercepts on that side is so high. Like, the ratio of it, he doesn't have these crazy stats, but there's a reason he's an all-pro for the third year in a row, because the dude is just really, really freaking good. Yeah. But that's I honestly think that they will come out like that. And that's what's going to make or break the game. It's going to be something pretty early. Mm.
Well, I mean, this is a really nice way to go into key matchups and key players. Now, I think we've talked about Brady. Everybody will talk about Brady and Wilson and everything like that. Sherman, we've talked a bit about. In our production meeting, though, we did talk about Gronk versus Chancellor. Now, Chancellor's not been mentioned a whole lot, particularly even in the Super Bowl media week. He's not really a name that's come up a lot, really, but he's somebody that surely should be in consideration for this game as a key player, don't you guys think? What do you reckon, Jacob?
I definitely do. I just looked at their physical stats recently. Rob Gronkowski's 6'6", 265. Cam Chancellor's 6'3", 230. I mean, for a tight end versus safety, that's a pretty solid matchup. There's really no height advantage that Gronk really has. I mean, 3 inches is pretty minimal. And the fact that Cam Chancellor's so big, he's so fast, he hits so hard. I think that's really going to be such a clear it's just going to be explosive. And the way that they're going to be able to maybe even run some decoys, run some clear out streaks up the middle to get him to have to fight back, and then do a quick in or a post with Gronk to get that that hole in the zone. I think that's really going to be what they're going to have to do to really nullify that matchup as much as possible.
I agree with you completely on that. I think that it's going to be tough, and it's one of those things that I hope we get a lot of those targets. Because I want to see that. Absolutely. I love those matchups where it's so good, but then I hate it when they don't ever throw to it. It's like, geez, OP, it's like, like I know I'm not paying money to watch this, but yeah, make it worth it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Cam can that, like you said, that 3 inches is little because Cam can jump out of the freaking he could jump out of the stadium.
Yeah.
The dude is so fired up all of the time. And those 4 that are in that, the Legion of Boom, like there's a reason that they are as good as they are. And especially in a league where quarterbacks are so heavily favorited, you know, all 4 of them, the stats that they've been able to put up, defensively, it's some of the best that we have ever seen, football, period.
Yeah.
So, you know, having the one of the cornerstones of that in Cam Chancellor against literally the greatest tight end in the game, and a dude that I've seen literally throw other humans off of him. Like these other guys that get paid millions of dollars to tackle, he throws them off like they're children and just keeps on running, spikes the football, and like pets a kitten because he's the weirdest guy in the world. Like he's the definition of a bro. Like he probably is wearing a snapback underneath his helmet at all times. He's a man beast, and I don't understand how, like, he's just so strong in that, and I love thinking about the other strongest person that I could think of on the defense going head-to-head with this guy. Yeah. Like, it reminds me of, like, a superhero movie. When they hit, there's going to be a shockwave that's going to go in both directions to knock everybody down on the ground. It's awesome.
Totally. I mean, Gronk is a beast, but Gronk, if you're watching, and I know you're watching this show because why wouldn't you?
I mean, media day is over. They might as well pay attention to us.
Gronk, if you're watching this, if you get injured during this game, I will be so pissed off. I am not even joking, mate. I'm 5'8", but I'm coming to get you. Honest to God, stay healthy. Just stop getting injured. All right, okay. So we've talked about Edelman, we've talked about Blunt, Darrelle Revis. Okay, Darrelle Revis, that guy, what I love about Darrelle Revis is that they actually interview Tom Brady and they say, when you're practicing against Revis, does that make you mad? What's it like? And he was just saying, the typical Tom Brady kind of fashion, he's a great guy, great for the team, but he's just been so great for the Patriots, has he not, guys?
Yeah.
Oh my word, he's been amazing. I mean, there's a reason. Like, he hasn't been as explosive and as vocal as you might say that he was when he was with the Jets. Talking about that Revis Island stuff. That's Bill Belichick through and through. You are a member of the Patriots. You're not a member of Darrelle Revis's team. But the guy is good, and when you think about it, you have a top 3 corner. Who I would say you have like Peterson. Top would be Richard Sherman, then Peterson from the Cardinals, and then Darrelle Revis. So you have the 3rd best corner in the game, which, if he heard that, he would want to kill me because I'm the best corner in the game, period. But I will say that there is not the Seahawks do not have a top 10 receiver in the league on their team. They don't. Nobody on that team is going to be top 10 when you actually want to rank it. And so, that being said, Darrelle Revis is a better cornerback than any receiver that will be on his side. It's going to completely take away a third of the field for Russell Wilson to throw to. Now, granted, they don't necessarily throw. They're big guys, Marshawn Lynch, but you are literally shutting down 33% of the field to be able to throw to. That's a huge advantage that you have. Not one that I think is completely on the other side, but it's awesome, and it's going to make the Seahawks. He single-handedly makes the Seahawks have to change their game plan for an entire half of the field, the entire Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think the fact that they brought Darrelle Revis on and that he's truly been, he's made this return to the player that he was with the Jets. I pose this question to you both. With Corey Dillon coming from the Bengals, Rodney Harrison coming from the Chargers, Randy Moss with the Vikings and Raiders, and now Darrelle Revis with the Jets and Bucks before going to the Patriots, are the Patriots the best team in the NFL at retreading older players and getting the most out of them, getting to fit them into that system and really becoming the player that they were back with their older teams, like when they were tossed aside?
Yeah. Yeah, how could you even argue for anybody else in that? I mean, you have to say that that's them. Yeah. And the thing is that I love that they take trouble players too. Like Darrelle Revis had a lot of issues. You had Corey Dillon had a bunch of issues. Randy Moss had a bunch of issues.
They were all cancers. Yeah.
Think about LeGarrette Blount, right? You look at LeGarrette Blount, and he used to play for Oregon. The dude straight up punched a guy. Like
from Boise State.
Yeah. Like he he straight up hit a guy. Like that's not something you go, all right, he's going to be a wonderful, upstanding citizen on our team. It's like that's the type of stuff that if he's willing to hit a dude on the field, he's probably willing to throw down in the locker room. Like he just has a big ego. Belichick snaps you out of that and gets the most out of you. Look at Wes Welker. Sure, Wes Welker caught 10 touchdown passes last year I should say. This year, he was nothing. Like, he did very, very little. Granted, there was the concussion, there was the suspension, all that kind of stuff, but you see when people leave the Patriots, they don't do as well as when they are with the Patriots. So
absolutely, yeah.
You have to say there's something that they're doing there that's able to snap it into your head and go, hey, you have a chance to win a Super Bowl with arguably the greatest quarterback that's ever played, arguably the greatest coach that's ever coached. You could do it our way and have a chance to get there, or you could not and see you later. Yeah. And, that's the thing. Gray for the Patriots, he ran 4 touchdowns in. He went off for like 299 yards, right?
That was nuts. Yeah.
And so Sports Illustrated wanted him to be on their cover.
And next week, nothing.
He was late to practice. So that's Belichick right. Didn't let him practice, didn't let him get first-team reps. And have we heard about him since then? No. Good job for putting up 4 touchdowns against the Colts in Week 12. Guess what? You're not featured in Haroon's Hangout talking about key impact players because you didn't follow Bill Belichick's way. That's the way that it works. And he is so unapologetic about it. Belichick doesn't care.
We're on to Seattle.
I mean, the thing is,
we're on Seattle.
His system works, though. I mean, Blount was off on his other team, and they didn't want him there. They did not want him.
They cut him. Yeah, the Steelers cut him halfway through the season.
Yeah, absolutely. But he comes to the Patriots. Last season, he was great with the Patriots. Now he's come back. He's integrated so quickly. Darrelle Revis slept in as well this season, and he wasn't allowed to practice, and that was it. Belichick sent him home. So that was like... you kind of think, well, the way the Patriots do their thing, I know there's a lot of people go, well, you're really arrogant and all this kind of crap, but it works. It really does. And I don't see any other system that is able to take players, troubled players like you said, Jacob, and make them conform. And if they step out of line once, very rarely do they do it again. I mean, the situation that was happening in Washington, that would never happen with the Patriots. That would never happen in New England.
No.
That would never happen.
And that's the thing. That's what I love about it. That Robert Kraft, number one, the owner of the Patriots, gives Bill Belichick like final say on all player issues, which is huge. And the fact that he does it that way. There's a reason. Like when I said that you have to play against the other 31 other teams in the salary cap, they're able to get players that are wanting that. They could pay less money, that want to get another shot at it, that are willing to put their own egos aside and get the most out of themselves. That's why they have gone to 4 straight championships. Yeah. That's why every single year, while they won 2 in a row and then lost, they've lost 2, everybody expects for them to be in the AFC Championship game every single year. And they've been there the last 4. Like, there's a reason that they're as good as they are. And it starts with the organization and what they do, from day one. So.
Absolutely. Well, going on to the other player now. Now, I can't believe we've gone this long and not really mentioned him. Marshawn Lynch. Okay, this guy needs to have his own reality TV show right now. Okay?
Sponsored by Skittles.
And we all know he's only going to say one thing on his show. I'm only here just because so I don't get fined. That could be the title of his show. So, okay, first of all, guys, what color shoes is he going to be wearing?
I'm gonna go with they're going to be the limest of green possibles. Like people, like Al Michaels is going to look at him and say that there couldn't be any more of a lime green than what he's going to have.
I almost think that he's going to have just pure, like just plain white cleats, and like play up like the White Knight, like he's the victim in all this, and maybe he like writes something on the back like "I'm sorry" or something, or like "Mum's the word."
Yeah, absolutely. Now with Marshawn Lynch, the guy, for me, he's just entertaining as hell. I mean, we could talk about on the field, off the field. I'm going to leave this one open, guys. What do you want to talk about? I mean, do you want to talk about his beast mode, antics off the field, his pressers this week for Super Bowl Media Week? What do you want to talk about?
All right. Well, personally, I'm kind of done with it all. Honestly, I think that he's a fantastic player, but it's just so many shenanigans after a while. You know, it's like, just say something, or like, I mean, but at the same time, though, if he really doesn't want to, I don't think that the players should be forced to. I mean, it's like people just want, like, you know, media now, they just want to be the one to crack him, you know, get him to say something more. They're even trying to trick him, talking about his charities and stuff. And I just think that, you know what, at this point, just get the camera out of his face. Just, you know, the only camera that should be on him is the sky cam when it's over a stadium. And that's just my personal opinion, because I think it detracts from all the other players, you know. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I can sort of agree with you. I find it humorous. Like, I know that I'm not a reporter trying to interview this dude every single week, so I'm not the one beating my head against a wall. But I don't know. The dude is really, really good. He has his reasons for not wanting to talk to people. Some of them probably are stupid. But, you know, it's one of those things that it's hard for me to get mad at him for that when he is just so dominant like he is. There is, like, everybody this year talked about DeMarco Murray. I talked about DeMarco Murray, hand over fist, because he was on my fantasy team, and I used that guy to get myself all the way to a win in the championship. But
awesome.
But he's so good, and he changes the game so much. I don't think there's a single player this year that averaged more yards after contact than Marshawn Lynch. Like, he is that Gronk, where he can get into that beastquake mode and just go ham. And I don't understand it, but he's just so good. And then you even saw him out of the backfield catching the ball, which we didn't really see a lot this year. It was very, very quiet. He would earn his money on his runs. But when he's able to catch 30-yard passes out of the backfield, because people are covering Curse and covering, you know, everybody else that's out there, Doug Baldwin, you know, Luke Wilson, it adds that another dynamic that he does have those hands. And then when he's in the open field, it's game over. The guy will run you over for another 7 yards. It doesn't matter how close you are to him. So it's going to be really interesting if that line can actually get some good push against the Patriots, and you let Marshawn Lynch break into that second level. It's going to be a really long day for the secondary.
I agree.
Really important question, guys. Who would you rather interview, Marshawn Lynch or Bill Belichick?
See, I'd rather do Bill Belichick, because he actually...
Go for it.
You go.
No, say.
Some little girl asked Bill Belichick what his favorite stuffed animal was, and he actually went into detail about, you know, like this like finger puppet thing that he had. So I think that he has, you know, I think that he's like genuinely a really like fun guy, and I think that'd be fun.
Because it was a really cute little girl.
I can play a cute little girl.
But like, if it was me or you, he'd just be like, "On Seattle," or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Or he'd just like look at you, you know, with that face. You're like, you know, like that.
All right, this is what I want to see. All right, there's two things. Number one, somebody take a screenshot of Jacob. I imagine it'd be really easy to turn his headphones right now into pigtails. So we need somebody out there that could do that. I know Shimon's watching. You could do that, buddy. And then I would have to say I would want to. I would have to want to interview Marshawn Lynch just to maybe even just level with him. Or, you know, it would be cool, we could create a paradox, and I could talk and ask Bill Belichick a question as Marshawn Lynch, and he would respond. Marshawn would hear it, and then it would be a back and forth of a "That's all I have to say" to "We're on to Seattle." That's all I have to say, and it would go on. It would be like an echo in the speakerphone. So
I'd rather have Marshawn Lynch, because the thing is, like, at least Marshawn Lynch, he's having fun with it. You can tell. Bill Belichick, I gotta tell you, I'm not afraid of anybody in particular, but I am scared of Bill Belichick. And I only met him, as we said, when he was hitchhiking that night.
I think the only moments of joy that Bill Belichick has is the moment where he is cutting off the sleeves of his hoodie. That's the only joy that man gets. Well, every other moment.
His girlfriend. How can you be so miserable with a girlfriend that hot? I don't get it.
Want to know why? Because he hangs out with Tom Brady every day, and Tom's dating Giselle. So it's kind of hard. Like, he's playing second fiddle to a supermodel and Tom Brady wearing male Uggs. You can't be happy if you're hanging out with that all the
time. Awesome. Okay, well, we're going to go into the next portion of our thing. We're going to be playing some over-under, so you guys can see that, right? Okay, so this is taken from Yahoo Sports. We'll be putting the link to this in the show notes. We just want to kind of go through some of our favorite questions that are on this article. So the first one we wanted to pick was, which song will Katy Perry perform first at halftime? Firework, Raw, This Is How We Do, Dark Horse, E.T., Wide Awake, Last Friday Night, Waking Up in Vegas. What have you guys got there? Jacob, do you want to take that one away?
Dark Horse. Man, I'm about to get shown up with these signs. I only have my over/under signs. I'm going to agree and say that Dark Horse is going to be the one that is at 12-1. That's pretty good odds. But I think that's probably where she will start.
The reason I'm going Dark Horse is because I think it's more of like a homage to Russell Wilson. He was a dark horse to get into the NFL for the Seattle Seahawks, band of brothers. They were they've always had that dark horse mentality, and I think she's pulling for the Seahawks. So I think she's going to kick it off with little Dark Horse.
Awesome. So next one is one of ours. Over under. Gronk gets 1.5 touchdown receptions. Dom, over to you.
All right. Gronk gets 1.5 touchdown receptions. I actually have this one. So, all right. That is an over.
Oh,
Gronk is getting 2. He's getting 1 in the second quarter, and he's getting 1 in the fourth. It's going to put them ahead for the win.
Jacob, what are you reckoning?
Absolutely under. I think Cam Chancellor is going to shut him down. He's going to get 1. He's going to get 1, but it's going to be early on. They're going to make adjustments at halftime, and then he's just going to be pretty much, he's going to be like, a placeholder for their team.
Awesome. I am just finding the next one, actually, on this list here. But, oh, God, where is it? Well, the next one is, will Bill Belichick smile during the game on camera, yes or no?
Go ahead, Jacob. Go ahead, Jacob.
Definitely going with no on this because I think it's going to be a beatdown from the get-go. So I think he's just going to be like, oh my God, how is this happening? We planned all week and now we're just losing 20-6 in the first quarter. So I think that he's not going to smile at all.
We're about to see this face up on the podium. He's going to smile on camera because where is he going to be on camera? He's going to be holding up the Lombardi Trophy. So this is the giant grin we're about to get.
Woo! That's a rare picture of a smile. That must be worth more than the Mona Lisa or something.
Yeah, I had to Photoshop it.
Here's another one of ours, guys. Wilson rushes for half touchdowns. Over under. What are you going for?
Definitely going over with that one because I think that Pete Carroll knows the just how people are thinking about Russell Wilson, that he's not elite, and I think that they're going to utilize him to have that that high reward, low risk sort of game. So I think that he's going to have a rushing touchdown. They're going to do one of those read options on the 5-yard line. And I think he's going to score.
No.
Hey Jacob, I can't read that. What does that say? What does that say? Under? Does it say under? Yeah.
Under.
Yeah, he's getting kept out of the end zone. Russell Wilson is not going to run for a touchdown. I'm very, very sorry for your luck.
How many times will Gisele Bündchen be shown on TV? Over, under, 1.5. Jacob?
Definitely over, because they're not going to have anything else to show for the Patriots side. They're going to be like, well, I mean, she's really pretty, so we might as well put something aesthetically pleasing up there, because their offense is abysmal. So I'm going to go over, because she's pretty much going to be the entire draw for the team.
Oh, my word. I'm going to go with under. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm going to go with over because, I mean, look at that. Look at that. Is there an option C that's not enough? Is there an option C? She's going to be shown not enough. So that's what I'm going to say.
Okay, what color would the Gatorade be, or the liquid that is dumped on the head coach of the winning Super Bowl team? Orange, yellow, clear, water, red, blue, or green? Jacob, over to you.
Blue. Definitely going blue, because blue was always, it was the cool blue. You know, and I think they're a hip team, and it sort of meshes with their colors. So I think that they're going to have some cool blue Gatorade.
Okay, Dom, over to you.
I agree completely, but my reason is a little different. Want to know why it's going to be blue Gatorade? It's going to be blue Gatorade because who's going to win? It's going to be the world champion, the dynasty breaking. Boom! What color is that? Oh, yeah. What color does Tom Brady wear? Blue. Boom, blue. Patriots. Get it.
Okay, one of ours. Brady throws 1.5 interceptions. Over, under, Jacob.
Definitely going over. I mean, was there any doubt of how I was going to go with this?
Jacob, man,
I think that Richard Sherman, despite the fact that he's going to have his child and he's going to name him Interception, because that's what he does. He makes interceptions, and I think that Tom Brady is going to just manufacture them. He's going to be like, oh, geez, oh, no. Cam Chancellor's going to get one. I think that the entire Legion of Boom's going to get one. That's just what I'm thinking.
Nope, Tom Brady under. All right, is it possible to throw negative interceptions? Tom Brady's going to intercept Russell Wilson. That's what's going to happen. No, and you know what? I think that I think that Richard Sherman's baby is going to have to be named Clam Chowder because after this game, Tom Brady is going to own Richard Sherman's child, his firstborn. He's going to own him, and he's going to name him Boston Clam Chowder.
Okay, next one. Will it be mentioned that Pete Carroll was the last head coach of the Patriots? Yes or no, Jacob?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's I think it's a very normal storyline. I think it's really important for the framework of the game, and if they don't bring people up to speed on it, in between those 2nd and 6 with 13 minutes left in the second quarter, I think that's where it's going to be probably thrown in. One of those not really important moments.
Okay, Dom.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be mentioned. And I mean, I think that the best place to probably mention is in between the first and second touchdowns for Rob Gronkowski. And maybe when they're like, oh, Russell Wilson should go in to the end zone. And plus, I hope they show this picture because look at how awesome Pete Carroll looked right there.
Oh, yeah. Man.
Pete Carroll's failures were the ones that allowed for Bill Belichick to come in to have all the control 15 years ago. So they will mention it. They'll probably mention it right as Pete Carroll's shaking his hand after he loses. After he's shaking that blue-soaked Gatorade hand, that's probably what's going to happen.
Absolutely. So the next one, Brady gets sacked 2.5 times. Over, under, Jacob.
I'm actually going under with this one, believe it or not. I think that the Patriots offensive line is really solid. I think that their guard play is going to pretty much neutralize Will Fork, and I think they're going to have a solid day. I think he's only going to get sacked maybe one time, but I don't think it's going to be anything more than that. I think it's going to be all in the secondary is where it's going to go. So.
Over. I am going with over. Here's the thing. That beautiful, beautiful Tom Brady is going to be knocked down a couple of times. I think that Carroll and their defense, they are going to throw in a couple of blitz schemes. They're going to try to do something crazy. Everybody's assuming that the new coach of the Falcons is going to be the defensive coordinator for the Seahawks. So I think that he is going to go and he's really going to get after it. He wants to go out with the ring, and he thinks that he's going to be able to do it that way. There's going to be some stunts. There's going to be some blitzing. I wouldn't be surprised if Richard Sherman did get a sack, but Tommy Brady's going to help Richard Sherman up after he bounces off of him, and he'll probably get sacked 3 times, but it's not going to be anything to worry about as a Patriots fan.
Same question, over-under for Wilson this time. So Wilson gets sacked 2.5 times. Over-under, Jacob.
I'm going to go actually over on this one, but I think it's more of a technicality. I think it's because what's going to happen is the pocket's going to break down. He's going to run, but he's going to get tackled behind the line of scrimmage. So I think technically it'll be a sack, but I think that it's him extending the play and just getting caught.
Under. I've seen enough Seahawks games. He doesn't really get sacked very often, not because the line is good, but because his feet are better. He's quick. He's very, very quick. And Vincent Wilfork is a big man that can't move very fast. So I think that it's going to be something that he's going to. He might get tackled for like a 1 or 2 yard gain, but the dude's great on his feet and he'll throw away the ball. So he probably only gets sacked twice, if that.
You guys have really surprised me with those over-unders. I've got to say, you guys are mental. You're doing my head in. Okay, next one. Marshawn Lynch grabs his crotch half times. How do I even say that? It's weird to say that. So over-under, Jacob.
Wait, is this the point you wanted me to show people what that was? Is that what you said, Haroon? I won't do it. This is a kid's show.
I see it right here in the production notes, so I think you're good to go.
Oh, it says Dom definitely needs to grab his crotch in the production notes?
All right, do you know what? Dom, get your crotch grab on, man. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. So it's a little bit something like that, all right? He does it backwards as he falls into the end zone.
Oh, my God.
No, I actually don't think he does. I think that's an under. Roger Goodell already warned the team about it. And if you actually get a warning like that, I don't think he's going to do it and try to ruin anything. So I don't think it happens. I think this is a time where Marshawn Lynch follows the rules.
Jacob, dare I ask you, because I have no idea what you're going to do now.
I'm going under as well. I think I give him a lot of credit. I think he's a very intellectual person. I think that Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson have sat him down. They're like, look, if you do this again, we could potentially have a 15-yard penalty on the kick, and I think that could potentially hurt us. So we got to play perfect to beat the perfect Pats. And so I think it's going to be under. I don't think he's going to do anything to step out of the lines.
No, I think he's probably going to do something after the game. If they win, he's going to give a bit of the X-Pack.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
If they win, probably won't be him grabbing his own crotch. He'll have people to do that for him. This show is falling apart.
We took a hard left turn.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My crotch normally does that to people. So anyway.
Crotches. We shouldn't use the word hard. When you said hard left turn, we probably shouldn't say the word hard. Just saying. Hashtag just saying. Anyway, last one over under. Will the first commercial be a beer commercial? Yes or no? Jacob?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. That's who's watching this. That's who's paying for this. That is where everything's coming from. I was disappointed last year though, because that Bud Light Platinum artist thing that they did last year with the I hated that. I was like, no, I want something funny when I'm eating my nachos, So
Exactly. No, I think it'll be a beer commercial, but I think it's going to be something different. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it was the Up for Whatever, the stuff that they've been doing. Yeah. They've been hyping that up. Everybody was really excited about it last year, so I could see that being the first commercial.
No doubt.
Brilliant. Well, we are coming to the end of the show. So now, guys, I'm going to ask you for your predictions. Tell me who you think is going to win, and tell us a score as well. So, Jacob, do you want to go first?
Sure. All right. I'm picking the Seahawks. I know that I've been saying that it's going to be a blowout, but I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be 35-31 Seahawks.
Okay, Dom?
Ooh, wow. I don't agree with you, obviously. I think that I think that it's going. I know, right? I think that it's going to be 23-34 Patriots.
Who says the lower number first?
Dom does. Dom does. See, that's the type of surprises that Bill Belichick's going to pull out on your precious Pete Carroll. And the hoodie's going to beat the robber baron once again. When has the robber baron ever won? Never. That's the answer. Pete Carroll's going to tie Giselle to a railroad tracks, and Tom Brady's going to come in and save the day. That's what's going to happen. No, it's going to be 34-23. There's going to be nine field goals by Stephen Hauschka. I'm sorry, 3 field goals by Stephen Hauschka. 2 of which are going to happen in the first half when they should have been touchdowns, but Russell Wilson got denied. So,
I see.
boom, watch that happen. There you go.
You know, Dom, that was so detailed. I kind of feel like you've been in Back to the Future 2, where you've got the sports almanac. And
I do. I have the sports almanac.
Making a load of money now and everything.
Yep,
like that.
and it's 2015. That's the year that's the year they went to. And don't worry, the Cubs will win too.
The Cubs will never win, mate. Never gonna win. They need to hire Bill Belichick, really, to kind of come in.
That's the thing. That's the thing they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Mind you, Tom Brady did like baseball, didn't he, to begin with?
That's true. We got drafted as
a
catcher.
And I will say this: Tom Brady is the definition of how far pretty will get you, because he went to the University of Michigan. And I, as a Michigan State fan, despise the University of Michigan. However, I will still root for a Michigan man who wears Uggs because he's Tom Brady.
And dances in Rio. I mean,
he's wicked smart. He's wicked smart, all right?
Nothing wrong with some Uggs. I'm going to obviously go with the Patriots. I'm going to say it's going to be a close one, because whenever Brady's in the Patriots, whenever Brady's in the Super Bowl, there's always drama. So I'm going to say it's going to be a really close game. I'm going to say Patriots by a touchdown. So this has been interesting to say the least, guys. But I just want to say, guys, where can people find you online? Jacob, do you want to go first?
Yes, you guys can actually all find me on Movy. It is an application we designed. It's for back-and-forth video message conversations. It's a new social media platform that really brings face-to-face communication right to the palm of your hand. So it really brings, what has been missing from social media. Check me out at jmark and hit me up. Let me know you saw me here and say hi.
Awesome. Dom, where can people find you online?
For sure. You can find me. I'm on Twitter every single moment of every single day, so you can go to twitter.com/Dom Garrett. Or if you want, you can also find me on Movy. I tend to hang out there all the time, having a good time. And you could find me if you just look for Dominic.Garrett on Movy. That's my username over there. So check it out.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Well, if you've made it this far into the show, you deserve a medal, but we just want to say thank you very, very much to the guys for coming on the show. Wherever you're going to be watching the Super Bowl, just be safe, be happy, eat lots, have a great time. But until then, we'll see you next time, sports fans. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Adios.